start at the beginning and give a very like brief overview. We don't have to talk, too long about where it started and all of that. There's plenty of information out there about that. People have talked about it to death, but we'll do a quick overview for people who may not be connected and know how to find that information. So basically, breaking is going to be in the Olympics 2024 this summer.
Yeah.
The main question first is, how did this even happen? We know that breaking, was connected to the Olympics before. It wasn't an event, but what was it, 84, that they were featured. They did some showcases. I think they did opening or closing ceremonies, but it wasn't an actual event. And the first breaking event in an Olympic thing was 2018, right? At the Youth Olympics in Argentina, right? Now, before that, I know Renegade also talked a lot about that at that time, breaking down how that all happened. So maybe in a nutshell, you can kind of give us, your side of it, from the people that you've talked to on the other end, and be like, yo, yeah, this is how this happened. Let our people know here in the audience how that went down, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah,
so how did
2018, that's when breaking got to Youth Olympics. So before that, there has to be some development for it to get into the Youth Olympics, right? So there was a guy named John Laurent, you know what I'm saying? He was like, he's like one of the guys within the IOC. He know how the IOC operate, right? So when I say IOC, it's the International Olympic Committee, right? So just, I know I'm saying an acronym, but it's easier to say International Olympic Committee.
That's cool. That's cool, because I was going to say let's break down the acronym just once, and then they'll know.
There's going to be what I said, WDSF. That's World Dance Sport Federation, right? So just when you hear me say IOC or a World Dance Sport Federation, or NMB, meaning National Member Body. So there's the national member body of WDSF, and then there's the USOPC, meaning the United States Olympic Paralympic Committee, right? So that's on the USA side. So before 2018, there was some development where John Laurent and what the IOC, the process of getting a so-called sport in the Olympics, right? So then he basically teamed up people like Steve Silverback. Steve Silverback, I don't know if people know, but Silverback throw one of, the biggest breaking event around, 20.
Yeah, it's the first breaking tour, right?
Yeah, it's like, he helped spearhead the Pro Breaking Tour, created alongside with Cross One UDEF and so on. His main goal is trying to create an ecosystem where, breakers come together, unite, and so on, right? But basically, so Steve, by the way, Steve Silverback is like one of the original member of Float Committee, for those who don't know. And so basically, so Steve teamed up with John Laurent. Steve is like the financer, right? He financed, he put a lot of capital into it because he just wanted to see breaking win, right? So John Laurent did his thing, and then they got together with Storm and Renegade, right? Storm and Renegade kind of spearhead the judging system, making sure like to communicate with the Olympic Committee, like what's the rules and regulations should be, and you know what I mean, like the finer details of what breaking is, right? So Storm and Renegade, they kind of spearhead that, you know what I'm saying? And then they basically, help put on the Youth Olympics. They kind of spearhead that, and it was very successful. It got a lot of attention, a lot of viewership, and in the world of the Olympics, they love viewership, right? At the end of the day, it's all, it's a business as well. So breaking seemed to be like the the kind of show. It was like spectacular. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
eventually it was proposed, like the Paris 2020, and the Paris Olympic Committee, the organizing, for the 2024, they proposed breaking to be in the Olympics. So big ups to the Paris squad because they're the one who kind of proposed breaking to be in the Olympics in Paris 2024, right? And so
Mm.
they got in. I honestly love what breaking brought to the table at the Youth Olympics because the Youth Olympics kind of like that showcase to show like, yo, it can go somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
then, so great job, by from John Laurent, Steve Silverback to Renegade to Storm and all them, right? They kind of spearhead Thomas, who's the creator of Battle of the Year. He was the main person who do the more production side, right? Renegade and
Okay.
Storm did more of the judging and all that, right? System, making sure, because they had to be in compliance of what is sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they did that part. Thomas, he helped. Him and his team did the production aspect. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
that's what they're good at. And it was a big thing. It was successful. So then, boom,
Word.
got
So then
into
that goes off. It's
to
dope.
2024.
And
So
then,
I
they
wanna
get the
explain
proposal.
something though. So the IOC give this
Wait,
entity.
hold on. Before we get to 2024,
Mhm.
let's talk about more about the 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 IOC's role in creating governing bodies. Like, how is it
Right.
that where does breaking actually fit with regard to the Olympics and how the governing bodies are formed? Like, where does breaking, what category? You mentioned the WDSF earlier, and I'm
Yeah.
sure you're going
So
to get back to
the
that. So,
IOC,
like, what's the
the
hierarchy
IOC,
there?
yeah, the hierarchy is basically the IOC, which is the
Yeah.
Olympic Committee. They gave the key to the WSF, right? Meaning
Okay.
the World Dance Sport Federation. They're organized. They're a dance sport entity, but their main foundation is basically ballroom dancing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they already have that ties with the Olympics and certain dance sport, but they don't have any of their discipline in the Olympics yet. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they know the rules and regulation. They experience with the whole Olympic landscape, right? So
Right.
then
So they're directly connected with the Olympics. Essentially, the Olympic Committee gives them the power to do
to spearhead
whatever with regard
the
to
whole
dance.
breaking, yeah, the whole breaking aspect when it comes to um, you know, giving them the rights
Yeah.
to kind of put the showcase on to the public, to the world of what
Mm-hmm.
breaking, the sport of breaking. So they in charge of organizing and building infrastructure internationally, right?
Mm-hmm. Because
Spearheading
they were
that.
already a dance organization that
They're already
existed.
organized.
There was no
They've been
other international dance
nope,
organization their size in the
nope,
world that was able to take breaking
yep.
uh, to the Olympics.
There was nothing in our culture, I mean, there
Yeah,
was
well,
nothing.
we'll get to
Yeah,
that in a minute.
but from
But yeah,
from the IOC, so overall, IOC gave WSF, World Dance Sport Federation,
yep,
right, the key to kind of spearhead the break initiative when it comes to the Olympics, right?
word.
And then the WSF, who is the International Federation of Breaking, because that's who an IOC gives the rights to, right? So as
Mm-hmm,
an
mm-hmm,
international federation, they have what's called the National Federation, National Member Body. So
mm-hmm.
every country of WSF, like they have a national member body in those countries. So like for USA, it's
Yeah.
called USA Dance, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the national member body, right?
So that's
So
how it breaks down. So we got IOC,
the WSF, and within
WDSF.
that WSF, there's many countries, right? And within those countries, there's a national federation, aka national member body of WSF,
Right.
right? So you can see the hierarchy now, right?
Got you.
So
Yeah.
so on the national side, basically you know, 2018, I can only speak for USA.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
from my perspective, right? So USA, we didn't have no infrastructure on the national side, right? Like that's like
Right.
there's nothing, right? Even in 2018 Youth Olympics, there was no representation from the USA, right?
Yep.
And that was one
Yep.
of the
We noticed.
first. We were like, dang, how
Yeah.
can this dance come from here? Because we didn't got our stuff together in the USA, right? So, um, so
Yeah.
so when they announced it's going to be an Olympics, right? The actual Olympics. That's when in 2021, I basically have a conversation with representative of the national member body of WSF, meaning USA Dance, right?
Right.
I had a conversation with his name's Ken, who's the president, right? And then Todd, who's the vice president of USA Dance. And
Yeah.
then, have a conversation where, hey, this is what we need to do. How, let's create this win-win scenario for USA. USA is behind the infrastructure. How can we, build this out? Just solution-based conversation. You
Okay.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I had a some honest conversation with them to where I say, hey, let us do the organization infrastructure wise and so on, because we know breaking the best. You know what I mean? And they
Yeah.
trust in that, right? So they basically, I was like, they're like, yeah, basically, okay, Ty. And then so my objective was, how can I get all these cats to come and unite? Right? That was the hardest part.
Mm.
How can I get cats from the breaking community in USA unite to form something,
Yeah.
right? In the USA, under USA Dance, which is the national member body of the WSF, right? Because in
Okay.
order for USA Breakers to go to WSF events, because
Mm-hmm.
they get to qualify, right? Breakers
Mm-hmm.
to be on their world ranking, and the
Yeah.
highest ranking get to go to these Olympic, qualification events, right? So my objective was to get together with the breaking community, with heads and so on from different crews, different approaches, unite cats, So one of the first person I called was his name is Zach, you know what I'm saying? Um, Zach, Zach and I were rivals. His crew and my crew were rivals on a competitive level when it comes to the battle aspect, right? But
Mm-hmm.
we were like, yo, let's put our past difference, unite, let's do this. He's very high level when it comes to not just dance skills, but business skills and so on, right? So he has certain
Right.
skill set that a lot of breakers don't. So I got with him, we formulate a plan, and we got certain cats together like Omar, Omar, first Rebel
Mm-hmm.
BC1. He's part of MTK as well. We got, Kareem, Pookie, Box One, Maka, J Skills, Cool, all high level
Right.
elite breakers, you know what I'm saying? And Unite, we created what's called Breaking for Goal USA, right? Breaking for
Right.
Goal
Okay.
USA. So this is the breaking division within USA Dance.
Yeah.
That's a national member body of the WSF, right?
Right. Right.
But
Now,
the
this
thing is,
wasn't an easy road to go through, right?
nah,
Because you had talked
this,
to a few different people
yeah,
and had tried to work with a couple other organizations to do this, and those
yeah,
situations
yeah.
didn't work out.
Although, yeah, they didn't, they don't know the right way to do it. You know what I mean? Because the
Mm.
right way to do it is you had to be part of a national member body,
Right.
right? To go to
Yeah.
these events, to the international events,
Yeah.
right? Just like if you want to go to the Final Four, you have to be
Mm-hmm.
part of NCAA school to
Yeah.
even play during the regular season. So then you have a great season to go to playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And then from
Yeah.
playoffs, you
Yeah.
get to go to the Final Four. So that's what it is on the sport aspect, the infrastructure wise, that you have to be part of this thing called, their national
Like
member
there's no
body.
other road. There's no
There's
other
no other road.
entity that's connected to the Olympics that you
Right.
can take a pathway. There's no
There's
roundabout.
no,
You can't create your own
nope.
way. Like you have to get the certification from the Olympic Committee. And they already did that, right? They already
They
gave it
already
to
gave the
WDSF,
WSF
and then
the
the
key.
DSF already allocated their membership information, whatever, to the national member bodies
Yeah.
already. So that's already done. You can't
Yep.
become a national member body without
Yep.
a lot more work,
Yep.
right? You'll have to
Yep.
figure out
So
why the
USA
one that you
Dance
have.
is already established national member body of the WSF,
Yeah.
right? So then for us, in order
Okay.
for breakers to go to the WSF events, we had to formulate a breaking division within USA Dance, right? And then from there, operate with autonomy because that's what we agreed upon. Like, hey,
Right.
we know breaking the best. Let us organize breaking and formulate a group with voting powers and this and that. Let us create the rules and regulations. Let us spearhead that anything that's deal with breaking. Let the breakers spearhead it, right? And
Right.
they trust them.
Right.
They don't have no saying. And well, you got to do this. No, they it's hands off for them, right? No micromanaging or none of that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we have that relationship to where it's a win-win relationship
Always,
where
it
hey,
should
we
be
win,
like that, right?
you win, right? And then it's going to win overall. And that's what's going on right now. So USA was behind until 2021, October 2021, we created that infrastructure,
I
right?
remember.
Before October 2021, USA was like behind from Japan, behind from Belgium, you name you. I don't know if Renegade is on here, but he can tell you like he'd be like, "Yo, what is going on in USA?" You know what I'm saying? But
We in
we
the
got it
USA
together.
talking about what's going on with the USA.
Yeah. So the power of unity,
Yeah.
right? Key thing here is to put away our differences, our approaches. If you want a rival in street dance, in any, even in basketball, right? You have certain competitiveness and so on, right? But hey, let's put that to the side. Let's come together, unite for a bigger cause. There's a bigger purpose than us. You get what I mean? So all of us got together, create what's called Breaking for Goal USA, right? And then from there, we created a whole entire infrastructure in USA to qualify, so then brother and sister
Right.
from USA can go to the international events, so then they can start earning Olympic ranking points. You get what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
the structure works.
So now,
But the overview
now
on
that
the
we have
USA.
that established.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, I was going to
So that's
say.
just an overview for
Yeah.
USA. And Japan, they have the same thing. In Japan, they have the national member body of Japan, and they work with the breakers, you know, like my co-member like Katsu, he spearhead the breaking initiative in Japan, where they formulate their own thing. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and this goes throughout, throughout the world now. There's other countries that may not have the same relationship that as we do, right? Because there's other country where, yeah, the dance ballroom people want to get their hands on everything, which is, in my opinion, that's why. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
USA is not like that. You know what I'm saying? To where we spearhead how we see fit. You know?
Okay. That's good. So then, yeah, we'll get to that loose caboose. Appreciate you. But so now that we got that groundwork, right, laid out for people to understand, what's involved with getting on the road to the Olympics, what had to happen for breaking to even show up in the Olympics. All right. Now we have that broken down, right? Now let's jump to how breakers actually qualify, right? What sort of events do they have to go to? So we kind of touched on it a little bit. They have to be WDSF sanctioned events to qualify for the Olympics.
Right.
What I
So
noticed is, and we can come back to this and talk a little more, but none of those events happen in the USA.
right.
None of those
So
qualifying events happen here. They all have to go somewhere else.
right. And usually, and again, it's a business, right? They had to kind of put up the money, right? And so when the WSF has the key, they can have other countries to bid on where they want. Hey, just say China. They want that event, the qualifying event in China, there's, you know, hey, pay this much, you know, to get the license fee. You know what I'm saying? Hey, to hold a qualification, a WSL qualification event, then you have to pay the license. You know what I'm saying? To have that event. It's a sanctioned event. That's what it is, right? So when it comes to business, there's that business aspect to it.
Right.
To where countries will have to pay to WSF, and so then they can have their event, you know, the event WSF in their country. You know what I mean? USA side, I'll be honest, we're not willing to do that. You know what I'm saying? We you know, at the end of the day, other countries have funding from the government, you know, from the government and so on. You would say it's all fundraising, bro. We don't have support from the government or nothing. You know, countries like Japan, Belgium, you name all these European countries, like Paris, like in France and all that, like they have funding from their government, where their government is, you know, giving like 200, 300 grand. You get what I mean? Just to get the programming going. For us over here in USA, it start zero budget, bro. $0. In October 2021, we came in, create this infrastructure with $0, dog. You know what I'm saying? The power of the purpose, the mission, bro. We're like one of the, you know, respected programs.
No, that's a really good point to make, because we already know that Olympic athletes you have to pay to go to the Olympics. They don't pay you to show up to compete, right? You got to have sponsorship, you got to have endorsements, you get your
they just apply
own money, right? So imagine, not only do you know that you're going to have to facilitate financially your way to the Olympics, but that you know that you're also going to be starting behind the line, because a lot of these other places have that governmental support where they have programs that are going to be built and funded either through governments or through entities that are specifically focused on that thing. And then here we know that that's not the case, and that, you know, you're going to have to hustle to get that money up to even make that journey. So that's a point that we all need to remember. Okay, so now we know why it's not here in the United States. So, but how do these breakers qualify though? So they go to the qualifiers. What do they have to do to get a spot?
So,
like, do they have to win flat out, or can they make it like to, you know, top two, top four?
There's certain criteria that they have to go through and be part of the national side. So for us on the national side, is all USA breakers will have to go to our sanctioned events that we threw, our regional events and our national championship. And then once you get on the team, right, on the national side, we get to send you to international side, the WSF events, right? And so once we send you to these WSF events, that's when you have to kind of perform at a very high level and be and within WSF, there's a point earning based on your ranking for each event. You know what I mean? So by the time you basically at the end of the cycle, the qualification cycle, who's like the top, you know, 32 B boys or 32 B girls, they'll get to go what's called the Olympic qualifying series. And there's other ways to go to the Olympics by, you know, to say winning the world championship, which Victor won, right? Victor won that. So he get directly go to Paris. You know what I'm saying? There's continental games, right? For each continent, you know? So then there's 5 continents.
We also didn't have one of those.
Yeah. So the continental games for Americas was in Pan American Games. You know what I'm saying? And Sonny actually won that from USA. And Sonny get to go to Paris through that, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, you know, North America can't get no love. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So so there's many different ways to qualify, right? First is direct qualifier, meaning the world championship and the continental games, right?
Right.
And then the second the way to qualify for the Olympic is what's called the Olympic qualifying series, which is happening now, right? They did Shanghai already. Now the next one will be Budapest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Budapest is going to be June
22nd,
the
isn't it?
22nd to 23rd. You know what I'm saying? And in Budapest, that's when we're going to find out who's going to be the other 10 that's going to qualify.
Right. So that's the last group of qualifying. So then you're going to find out.
Right, because there's one already, one spot is already for the World Championship, right? And the 5 other spots from the Continental Games, right? So that's 6.
And then France gets 2 automatically because they're hosting.
Right. France basically France will get So France, so
they
in
get
Budapest,
one.
If one of them plays in the top 10, right? The second highest from France will get to be, you know what I mean? Because they a host country, right?
They host, so they get 2 automatically, right? So then they're not, even if they compete, they're not going to get no extra slots.
Not automatically, they get 1 automatically. But if one of their own plays in the top 10, that means that person gets to go. But then they get 1 automatically if that other person is from France, is in the top, I think 32. It's in the top 32. So let me get that rule straight here.
I thought it was they have 1 B-boy and 1 B-girl slot automatically. And then whoever, like you just said, if somebody from that home or anybody that already has qualified wins another spot, then the next person down gets their spot. But it's not that country. Like everybody just gets 1. But
no, France will get 1 automatically. Right. But then there's a special rule for that, to where, you know, France will have to be in the top, let me say, top 24. So
there's only 24 slots left.
There's 32 of them. You know, there's about, you know, there's 32 that's gonna compete, and
I was reading on the
and one of them had to place in the top 24 from France, and then the other one had to place in the top 10 to get 2 into the Olympics.
Word. So then they also have 4 extra slots for underrepresented countries, right? What they called
universality.
Universalities.
So with that, they have to be in the top 24 to go to Paris.
Right.
So if they're not in the top 24, then they won't. You know what I mean? So
basically, if they don't make it to the top 24, those slots really don't exist for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like in Shanghai, the universality B-boys and B-girls, they didn't make the top 24. They I think they lost in the top 32, or some of them didn't make out from the prelims. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where, you know, you had to perform. You know what I mean?
It's a competition. It's a battle for sure. So to break it down, then
my bad. The OQS is always composed of 40 B-boys and 40 B-girls in the OQS. You know what I'm saying? And then from there, if you're universality, you have to place in the top 24 to get your spot in the Olympics. And if you're from France, you have to place in the top 24, right? To get your spot in Paris, right? And it seems like France will have, from the look of it, will have 2, because one of them, Sissy, she basically in the top right now. She placed in the top 10, right?
Sissy,
and then
Okay.
And the other B girls from France, she's placed hard in the top 24. You know what I mean? I'm gonna look right now what she ranked in Shanghai. In Shanghai she was Carlota. She ranked 14 in Shanghai. So yeah, she's above 24. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Sissy ranked number 5 in Shanghai. So you see,
Mm-hmm.
if Sissy is stayed within the top 10, and Carlota to say she's ranked again 14th in Budapest, Carlota get to go along with Sissy because of that already quarter spot for France. You get what I mean?
Mm. Okay. Gotcha. So it depends on where they rank then. Okay. That
Exactly.
makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot
Okay.
of like rules and
Yeah, I was reading them all, but that was just the one. Like it seemed like that it was like they automatically get 2 spots, and it's like, well, not
no,
necessarily. It depends on who's doing what. So if they rank a certain way, then they'll get
I
that
think I
extra
think
spot.
I think you thinking 2 spot is 1 B boy, 1 B girl. You know what I'm saying? I think
Yeah,
that's what you meant, right? Okay.
yeah. Okay,
Right.
got it. All right, so we're on the same page. Cool. So, all right. So basically, in order for a breaker to go to the Olympics in the United States, they gotta do regional qualifiers here in America to even qualify for a WDSF international
That's
spot, right?
why we created infrastructure in USA. So then
So what kind of
USA,
jams? So just for everybody else, I mean, I'm familiar, but for everybody else, like, what was a qualifying battle here in America that they had to do well at?
so yeah, we had different regional events.
Yeah.
One in Minneapolis, one in New York, one in LA, one in um,
Hmm.
Austin, and so on, right?
Yeah.
And we, to speak on, there was like last year we did 3 regional events,
Hmm.
right? We did 3 regionals. The winners of that get to go to the national championship and so on, right? You had to rank a certain way to go to the national championship. The
Hmm.
national championship, you had to be, do perform
Do
really
your
well
thing.
in the
Yeah.
national championship, right? So
And then
there's,
you rank.
and again, we get into the detail of it, but basically you have to do well. You have to go to regional, go to national. National, you got to do well, and then from there we have certain criteria. So then we send them to the WSF events, and then from these
Indeed.
WSF events since 2021 to now, they were
They
able to
get
compete,
points.
and then from the ranking aspect, from the world ranking from the WSF side, there's points for each rank,
Word.
placement. You know what I mean? So you place first, you get a lot of points. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I don't have the ranking points in front of me right now,
No,
but
that's
basically,
cool.
overall for USA, it was mainly Victor, Gravity, Jeffro. Those are the main 3. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
On a girls' side, is mainly Sunny, Levix, Legit.
Logistics.
You get what I mean? So
Yeah.
right there, I mean they've been earning their spots, through these WSF events. But there was a lot of representative that had an opportunity to compete,
Yeah.
from the USA. Morris,
Hmm.
Valencio, you know, um, other B girls like Pepsi. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Pepsi, one of them.
Yeah,
You
for sure.
so I Snap
Yeah.
one. You know,
That's dope. So now that they get up to now they'll go to Budapest and see how they do there. And then hopefully, you know, we got we'll get what? Hopefully we'll get all of our spots because you get up to 4 places per country,
at the
right?
Olympics, right? So going to Budapest, um, there would be full representative from USA to get their spot to qualify for Paris, right? And
Hmm.
those 4 is Logistic, Levix, Jeffro, and Gravity. And those
Hmm.
4 is competing to be in the top 10, right?
Hmm.
And if they all are in the top 10, then the highest American from each category get to go. You know what I mean? So just for example, Jeffro and Gravity. In Shanghai, Jeffro was placed 5th. Gravity was placed 6th, and they're like 1 point apart because 5th place you get 36 points. 6th place you get 35 points. So they're like Gravity and Jeffro, they're neck to neck.
Hmm.
You get what I mean? And
Yeah.
so they're really competing and Budapest to be in the top 10, but be higher than against each other. You know what I mean? Like they in a way they're competing for that last spot. You know. So if just say if Jeffro and Gravity is ranked in the top 10, and then just say Gravity cumulatively have more points than Jeffro, that means Gravity gets to go.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Vice versa.
Yeah.
Right? Only if both are in the top 10, right? Now if Jeffro's in the top 10 and to say Gravity's, he got 13th place or vice versa, then whoever's in the top 10 will get to go.
Automatic.
You know what I mean? Right.
Yeah.
So that's what happened on the girl side where Logistics and Logistic, she did very well.
Right.
She placed 4th in Shanghai. Levix, she placed 22nd.
Yeah.
So that means there's a lot of ground that Levix had to go in and kind of not kind of but win Budapest, like meaning first place.
Right.
And then hoping Logistic don't even make it out in the prelims. You know what I mean?
Right, because it's cumulative. So if she it depends on the number of points, right? Yeah, so you can have, so this is, it's kind of cool because you can have the opportunity to have a bad day. You know what I mean? Like, if
just
you're
like
doing
NBA,
your job,
right?
if you're like really keeping up the whole time, but then you have one bad battle and you're like, snap. But you can still rely on those other points, and then if you have another option, an opportunity to make those points up, just kill it the next time.
It's like NBA playoffs, right? Best out of 7. You can be right now. What the Dallas Mavericks? They're down 2 games. They can come back. Yeah. They have the opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So same thing with Levick. She's gonna have the opportunity and Budapest to come back. But she has to win it, and hopefully her teammate. Yeah. Not hopefully. I don't hope for this, right? But I'm talking for herself, for Levick's side, that hey, if I win first, but then Logistic, she don't make it out prelims, then there's a chance for Levick's to go.
You know what I mean? In. Right. I mean, knowing logistics though, she gonna do she gonna stay on her.
She's very consistent. So
okay, that's dope. So now this is where we're at, and it's dope. But there are some caveats about it, right? So,
before we go to the next topic, so I want to inform everybody that Victor and Sonny already qualified for the Olympics, right? For USA.
So we have 2 people already 100% in the battle.
Right. In Paris. Dope. Right. So then we're trying to qualify 2 more from the USA. And the 4 that I named, Logistic, Vix, Jeffro, and Gravity, they have the opportunity to qualify for Paris. Right.
And they're high level, so they really can do it.
Yeah, they definitely can do it based on their ranking system, their ranking from last event. If just say there was no Budapest, and based on Shanghai, it would have been Logistic and Jeffro that gets to go to Paris. You know what I mean? But and again, there's another opportunity for the 4 to compete, and then their overall cumulative points that they get from Shanghai and Budapest, and from there, the top, will get to go.
So what you're saying basically, though, is based on the points that they already have, those 2 have already qualified to be on the team to go.
No, I say if just say there's no Budapest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like right now, if there was no Budapest, like they have already qualified.
Based on the ranking, right? Because Logistic got 4th, right? She's in the top 10. She's 4th. She plays 4th, so she get that spot for USA, for the last spot for the B girl side in USA. Jeffro, he ranked higher than Gravity, 1 point. So that means based on the rules, he'll get to go, right? If there was no Budapest, but that's not the case, right? I'm just using an example.
I think that's still dope. That already we have 4 people people going to the Olympics.
Mhm.
Like, there's not going to be, you know, a slot open where, you know, it's
Yeah.
only 2 people or 3 people on the team.
Yeah, let's knock on wood, you know what I'm saying? So they can be healthy.
Y'all got
You know,
alternates, you know what I'm saying? What's going on with that?
but
Let me find, I got some wood right here. Here we go.
consistency wise, you know, based on their performance, yeah, I think for me, I'm confident we'll able to maximize a quarter spot for USA when it comes to Paris. That would be 2 B-boys and 2 B-girls from USA.
Yeah, that'd be dope. We'll be watching. Last thing before, yeah, and one more thing before we jump to the meet. When exactly do we have a schedule for what day breaking is supposed to actually happen?
August 9th and 10th.
Okay. So the games start on the
It's the B-girl?
20. The actual games start the 26th or the
Yeah,
20.
opening ceremony is July 26th.
Okay.
But
And then
the breaking, you know,
yeah.
battle that won't be until August 9th, which is the women,
Uh-huh.
the B girls, and then for the guys will be the B boys will be August 10th.
Okay. So y'all remember that.
Yep.
August 9th and 10th breaking. So just look for it. I'm sure the exact times will come out. The schedule will come out soon for what times, and then you can just look that up for your time zone and make sure you tune in, because we definitely want to show and give support to the United States. Now, we'll start with the games, and then we'll move to the artistic part of it. And these things are kind of segue, because I had a lot of questions from people about how it's going to be judged. And I know that there's already a point system. Breaking events have had a successful judging system with successful point systems for a while. Is it something similar to what you guys have already been doing, like say for BC1 or a freestyle session or whatever? Maybe
So
not so
then there
much
the
freestyle session, but
justice system what the WS use currently has 5 different criteria, right?
yep.
There's
Mhm.
technique, which is like your athleticism, you know, like the way
The way you
your
do the move.
form,
Yeah.
what's your form looking like,
Yeah.
right? Is it, you know, you do it to say like um um a flare, and you know your
Legs
legs
are
bent
bent up.
something, you know what I'm saying, your form is
Yeah.
not there, you know what I'm saying, your body control, your dynamics, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
your spatial awareness. Like if you're doing, you know, if you're doing a round and all of a sudden you start in the middle and all of a sudden like you battling like yourself. You know what I mean? Like you start with your round in the middle, but all of a sudden you end your round like on a corner,
On the side.
backside corner, instead of right in front of your opponent.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like so that, you know, they look for all that
So then
technique. There's vocabulary. There's another criteria called vocabulary. That's like, you
yeah.
know, moves. Like you gotta have,
What are you
you
doing?
know, yeah, variation of moves. You know what I'm saying? Quantity of moves. You know what I mean? It's not just how many moves, but variation of that move. Like who got more vocabulary within that move, right?
Yeah.
And basically, you know, hey, are they repeating?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So vocabulary, that's another criteria. Originality,
Mhm.
and we all know what originality is, right? You know, how do you improv, freestyle? Like you can, you know, come up with something,
Yeah.
you know, at the
Yeah.
spot,
Let me
at that
see.
moment.
You want to see you on the floor, right?
Yeah, personality. What's your personality? Somebody going out there just where you feel logistic. When she come out there, she come with the style. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That flavor. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
execution. That's another criteria. That's the 4th criteria,
Mhm.
right? How you execute. You know, are you crashing? You know, and so on. No,
Mhm.
you know how clean you are,
Are you finishing your
right?
moves? Are
Yeah,
you good
yeah.
transitions?
How, you
Yeah.
know, what's your composition looking like?
Mhm.
You know, within that round, right? Meaning,
Yeah.
does it make sense what you're doing? Are you executing your round? Meaning, like, you know how cats just start a round and then they're in the middle of their round, they reset, get
Yeah.
back and start top rocking again and go down. Like they're not really executing the way a round should be. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not
Yeah. You
storytelling
need flow.
the whole
You need
time.
consistency. You need,
Yeah.
you
So
know,
from beginning to end of that round, it's got to make sense.
right.
So that's how well you got to execute that round. You
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
And then the last criteria would be musicality, right?
Right.
You gotta be with the rhythm. You gotta be on with the music. You know what I'm saying, and so on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are the
Heard.
5 criteria, and how they
Now.
doing it is basically, one person go out,
Mm-hmm.
the other person come out, and they compare the two
Yeah.
based on these 5 criteria.
Mm-hmm.
And then the judge will basically slide their mark. They'll start judging after this last person finished their round. That's why they're comparing it. Okay, who got better musicality? Who got better technique? Who got better vocabulary? Who got better vision? You know what I'm saying? Just little movement on their voting
Pads, or they getting
pads and all.
iPads, or
Right? Yeah, I think they use iPad. It's like a slider.
okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So they slide. Okay, if just say it's very close. Say B-boy A come out, musicality's on point. B will B come out, musicality's on point. But it's up to the judge to say, okay, who who got better musicality between the two?
Right.
It's hard to judge. And then they move if they feel like B-boy A got the edge a little bit, 1%, then they'll move the slider over to the B-boy A. Who's
Right.
1%
Okay.
because it's very close, right? And
Yeah, of course.
I think B-boy A, have a have better just minute point here and there than B-boy B, and then they'll slide, and then same thing with the other criteria,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
So
that's
then they
how they judge
have separate
based on those
slots. So
5
they have
criteria.
separate. Well, hold on. Let me understand how this. So they're going to have separate blocks for
Yeah.
each criteria. Like it's going to be
So,
a separate line.
one line to be technique, one line to be vocabulary, one line to be originality, with the slider in the center.
Yeah.
Right? And another line for execution, another line for originality, with
Mm-hmm.
the slider for each line in the center, and then the judges will
Are they going to
basically
be
slide.
points there, like 1 out of 5, or is it just going to be like, hot and cold type deal?
So just say overall, and then they're gonna calculate the system, who
No,
got.
I mean, like, the judges, like what they're looking at on the sliders, like how it's in the middle, is it going to be increments of like 1 being no good or 5 being great, or is it like hot, cold, like good, bad, or are they
It's
going to
based
be
on percentage.
okay?
It's like from 0 to 10%, right?
Gotcha.
And
Okay,
then
gotcha.
they'll slide over 10%, or
Okay,
this one's really smoking this cat in musicality,
right.
90%. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
Gotcha. Okay,
that's how it works. Um,
okay.
so let me show you something. I have it right here.
Yeah. Just for everybody just joining on, this is Tyquan, president of the Mighty Zulu Kings Worldwide, also council member of the Breaking
Breaking
for
for Gold
Gold
USA.
USA, which is the essentially the United States breaking governing body for the Olympics. So we're on with him talking about breaking in the Olympics.
I don't know if I can. So my bad. So it's
Okay.
20% each, right? So they have a scale. You see how
Yeah.
the slider. So then each category have is worth 20%. So add them up, that's 100%.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So then they would slide over like, okay, technique, the blue side, B-boy or B-girl, has
Gotcha.
it's above 10%. They kind of got them technique wise. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it goes down the line, and then in the end, the system calculates. It seems like red won. Well, see, they're gonna add up the percentage. So this is like 27 something percent, 27.8%, while over here, yeah. So the red side wins. You know what I'm saying? Because it has cumulative, it has more percentage of all
Gotcha.
criteria. And as you can see, right? Like
Right.
it's a 1-0, red won the first round. You know what I mean? Or round two, whatever that is. Whatever round that is,
Oh, okay.
the red side wins.
Renegade, we got you. Renegade just jumped in on it.
Yeah, it's comparative, you know. Um, so yeah, they have a slider. And this is the framework. I'm glad Kev's in here. The framework came from Kev, you know,
Okay.
Renegade and Storm. So what the WSF is utilizing is a framework from Kev and Storm's Trivium system. You know what I mean? So the foundation of what the WSF is using, the framework,
Yeah.
is from uh, Renegade and Storm. I want to say that because it's not from the WSF. It's from Renegade and Storm. You get what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I figured they didn't actually have nothing to do with it. I wasn't sure where it came from, like, but I'm glad that we cleared that up, that what is being used right now is what they put together. I remember also that they had been working on it a while ago. So while he was working on it, I know Renegade was talking about it, years ago before even 2018. I didn't know if you guys were using some hybrid of other scoring systems. So that's good to know.
What the WSF is using now, and they create their own judging
Yeah,
system, but with the
yeah,
framework from Renegades and Storm. It
gotcha.
used to be the Trivium system. It's the main judging system for these
Hmm.
Olympic qualifying events. But then certain things happen, right? Politics, this and that, and
Yeah,
the
we might
third. We
have
can
to get
get,
the tea. And
yeah,
Kev,
we can have that another conversation.
if
Yeah.
you stick
Uh,
around after we finish this here, I'd love to have you on and give us a little tidbit if you feel like talking today.
and so, but then they utilize the framework from Kev and them and create their own little thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, I got it. Right. That's what's up, man. So I'm like, this is a lot of information, and it's great because now when people talk about breaking in the Olympics specifically, they can understand how it works from the bottom up.
yeah.
So now we've gotten all the way up to the judging criteria. Now here's where
Mm-hmm.
the
Five
nitty, the
criteria
nitty,
currently. Technique, vocabulary, originality, execution, musicality. Currently, those are the 5 criteria.
right on, and it's a comparative score, and they get, and each category has 20% out of to make 100.
Yep.
And then the higher percentage takes the round
So
or
basically, you
the
got to
battle.
be well rounded in all aspects. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right, of course, right. So now let's get to the heart of things, because this has been the the struggle since this was announced, right? Um, the art of it and how to judge the artistic side in a competition fashion such as the Olympics. What are
Mm-hmm.
we going to lose? Like, we talk about everything that we can. Well, let's talk about the gain first. What does breaking gain by being in the Olympics? What do we get from that?
We there's a value added to where, we're getting so much media attention right now, free marketing from the outside space that's not
Hmm.
from our community. I'm talking about free marketing. Look at your piece,
Yeah,
right? That free marketing for breaking.
yeah.
Usually when people do this type of stuff, they have to pay for marketing stuff,
Hmm.
right? We getting free marketing for the dance itself, what's breaking. And we getting people from outside looking in like, wow, even though they
Yeah,
may wait, here, they're interested in watching it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And then of course, with the viewership, that means more opportunity for other entities, other networks that can kind of focus in on. Wow, there's this thing called breaking. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? I thought it died a long time ago. Whoa, this is amazing.
Yeah,
Because I know in Paris it's going to be successful. It's going to be, it's going to be dope. And the
100.
entertainment value of it, Um,
100.
so that means more viewership, more, more eyes,
Peace,
within
OG
from
Midnight.
outside, more opportunities from other entities, whether it be multinational corporations and so on, or even philanthropists that want to come
Yeah.
in and invest and add their value into our ecosystem of what we
Mm-hmm.
already have,
Right.
right? For USA is a goal of ours to bring home the medal. So then there's this so-called focus on, wow, breaking is when it comes to breaking, USA is the so-called the GOAT. You know what I mean? And so that means there's
Yeah.
more interest from multinational and so on invest into, to the national side and also on the international side. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Even on a grassroots level, right? So
Yeah.
the more I get into breaking, imagine on a local level, it hits a local level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's gonna be many eyes that's new people that's gonna want to learn about breaking. Then in each city you guys to kind of formulate some type of infrastructure or platform to welcome in these new people, right,
Right.
that want to learn about
Yeah.
the culture, this and that and the third.
And
You get what I
then
mean?
everything else adjacent to that,
Yeah.
right? So
so
breaking is
so if
just
there's
one
nothing
part.
on a local level, where are these people going to go learn?
Right.
Just say if
Well,
you're
we
like a
know that
16-year-old.
there's a lot going on locally, right? We just don't necessarily have the exposure,
Right. So that's what I'm saying. It's gonna bring those eyes, those new
Yeah.
people from outside that's gonna come in and they want to learn about breaking. They want to be a fan of breaking
Yeah.
and so on, right? So it's an added value to breaking. Now, the people that's doing this for a long time, we're gonna keep doing what we do,
Right.
right? Now, the people that just maybe from this Olympic initiative, to say on the local level, Cincinnati, 10,000 new so-called breakers want to get in, they want to
Yeah.
learn. And out of these
Yeah.
10,000, maybe only 100 of them wanted to stick to it year after year after year. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can't expect like all 10,000 kind of just gonna be, official all through their life. You know what I'm saying? Some people just want
Right.
to play certain, just like kids. They may play football when they're younger, but they're not
Yeah.
playing football in their high school or college years. You get what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just an opportunity to bring, new people in and educate them on what this is about. That's a win for us. Now, where we doing disservice is dissing it. Because if we're not doing something to prepare what's coming, this wave of new
Yeah.
people coming in on a local level, on a regional level, on a national level, then
Yeah.
we're not doing their part, our part. You know what I mean? So
Right.
you got to build something locally, regionally, and nationally to make sure the people that's new, that's coming in, are getting educated by the right people. And that,
Right. So that's a good spot to
you know what
segue.
I mean?
So that's
That
a
that's that's
good spot to
that's our
segue.
responsibility.
Yeah. Yes. And that's a good spot to segue because now, you and I talked about this a lot the other day, but
Mhm.
moving from the positive aspect, which you laid out very clearly, like exposure, opportunity for exposure, not necessarily opportunity to go to the Olympics, opportunity from the local level where people who may not get any type of recognition or any type of eyes on them
Mhm.
now can have people interested and have
Yeah.
people coming to them and have people asking and have people wanting to learn. And then in turn, hopefully that helps grow the community, not just from a community standpoint, but also, from a business standpoint, which is good for the culture, right? Now
Mhm.
we're going to go over to that side. Like, how does this hurt breaking? How does this, what do we lose from from it being in the Olympics. And you probably being so close to it may not necessarily see or have a strong opinion about us losing anything, but I'm interested to see if you think that, you know, from where you're sitting, we lose something, because there are a lot of people that think we are losing something when we put breaking in the Olympics.
I mean, when it comes to that, they're talking about, you know, I see like they're losing the raw, like the authentic aspect of breaking,
Yeah,
right? That, you know, I heard some of that, like, oh, you know,
definitely.
it's not raw, it's not, you know. My thing is there's always, it can't all coexist. That's what I'm saying, right? It's one of those things where even on, you know, what we currently have, people with this Rebel BC1, they with this monster, they with this anything that deals with like any outside entity coming in. But then for me, it's more like, you know, how can we create a healthy ecosystem to promote growth where everybody wins? You know what I'm saying? Because we're so caught up with that tribal mentality where it's always a win-lose scenario. If this gets in, that means we're losing something. But why can't it be a win-win situation? And it's up to us to create that win-win value. You know what I'm saying? Instead of a zero-sum value. Because for the past 50 years, it's been a zero-sum value because we don't have infrastructure in place, right? Now,
Right.
we should see this as, wait, we got to get our stuff together then, right?
Yeah.
Meaning we need to get together. We need to organize. We need to have structure because other entity got their stuff in order, right?
Yeah.
But then the win aspect is we need to get together to unite and create some type of structure, you know, from our community. If not, the lose aspect is if we don't do that, that means somebody else is gonna come in and do it. That's the lose aspect of it. Because once it's blow up, you can't control how people move. Right? You can only develop and on a grassroots level, on a regional level, on a national level, based on our relationship. All of it. We all have relationship. If everybody else is like, nah, F this, F that, always talking about the problems, but no one's come up with solution and willing to sacrifice their time and energy for these solution, then yes, we're going to end up losing. We're going to lose the opportunity because other people may come in, structure it, organize themselves, and then they can take over. And then from there, we're like, oh, see, da 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 da. Very reactive instead of right now being proactive and say, okay, we know already, because some average Joe right now, they don't know breaking is in an Olympics right now. You get what I mean? Like they just now knowing about it. You know what I'm saying? If we're smart enough, we got to get together and kind of formulate.
But they do know breaking though, and this is another point that I think is the folks on the other side, right? So yeah, like the unity and getting together and everything is definitely the solution. But I think before we can do all of that, I think everybody has to acknowledge certain things, right? That it is originally a cultural dance, right? Before it turns into anything else, right? It's a cultural dance. So I think this is what people are worried about losing, in a sense, that now there are those people who never want it to be like commercialized or, you know, become a business or anything like that. They wanted to just strictly stay, you know, in the park jams, in the parties, you know, straight raw like it was originally, and not be a monetary horse for anybody, right? But as we know, you know, anything that can be commoditized will be commoditized. Like, and like you said, by somebody. And I do agree that we have dropped the ball in the United States. I think that, and for now, I'm going to just say the United States overall, and not, you know, say specific groups of people or anybody like that yet, but we in the United States just do not value a lot of our cultural creations here in America, the way that the rest of the world does, right? And it's I think for that reason that people are so reluctant when they see big corporations taking over and building a new sort of thing separate from the original creation of the community, right? So like we know that, you know, almost all the street dances come out of the Black community, right? And we see now how often that fact is stated. And not to state it because, you know, oh, you got to be pro-Black to say it. No, just saying it for historical value, right? And some people don't think that that's an important thing to state. And in some other cases, it's probably not if it wasn't a particular situation like this, right? But I think that is one of the big issues why people are so reluctant about seeing breaking go to the Olympics. Because once you see it there, like you said, everybody's going to want to do it. And it's going to, and the same thing that happened to hip hop or that happened to breaking in the 80s, they're looking at it happening again. Now, I don't necessarily think that we're in the same situation as when it happened the first time. I think that people are much more aware, people like you, people like Renegade, people all over the world that know the culture and are positioning themselves to be in spaces where they can affect change, where they can make sure that we don't go down that road again. Having people from the community be connected to creation of the judging system, the judges themselves, the autonomy for the breaking community within the governing bodies of these sorts of things, I think will change the outcome. But in so many other areas, we see internationally that that's not the case. Like parts of the history of street dance in general is being left out. And
internationally or
internationally, and well, as in the United States, we really don't talk about it at all from an institutional standpoint. But internationally, I see that the culture is adopted in some ways, and then other things are either taken, left aside, left out, not talked about, when I feel like they all have to be talked about. Like you can't have one thing without the other. And one big issue is, you know, the way people generally around the world view Black folks. We unfortunately know that, but yet love the culture that comes out of Black. You know, you grew up in the hood when you lived here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's.
Hey, I have no problem saying, yo, Black folks talk me.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but everybody doesn't accept that, and they don't see that, and they won't push or they won't talk about that. You don't have to push it if you're not Black. You don't have to be super pro-Black, but it's about accepting a reality, right? And not pushing out this part of the thing. Like, oh, we don't really mess with those people, but this thing that comes out of that community, we love that. So I'm wondering about that situation, you know?
I think that discussion is definitely important. You know, there needs to be kind of like I guess, a roundtable of different, you know, the more dialogue that we should have, right, using the internet and so on, and, you know, create some type of initiative or activation to where different panel discussion, you know, have certain people from different countries. And, you know, the more dialogue we have about it, the better it is. Even people that disagree, because you want people that
something that you notice though.
What it is, but then once they in panel discussion, they will kind of learn, you know, a thing or two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things, like those talking points, those subjects. That's another initiative, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to the Olympics, the whole Olympic aspect is just that is we're gonna place breaking at this called Olympics, and then from there, yo, how are we as a community? It's up to us to kind of create our own opportunity from it. It's up to us.
Yeah.
If we're not ready for it, then
Yeah.
we can't point. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
how. What we're gonna lose? I mean, yeah, we have to know when we get into these spaces, there has to be some type of communication, and you're not gonna get everything that you want.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Just like the Olympics, you can't really throw like a burner that's so disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Like the middle finger in the face.
Give them the.
You know what I'm saying? Like shotgun, like what I do on in the cipher, boom. Like
Yeah.
like you presenting breaking at a highest level to where there's new viewership. The main goal is to get people
Yo, what up, Flex?
to love breaking for what it is. And then from there, on a local level, that's when people reach out to certain breaking platforms on a local level. Now that's where your job as a grassroots, leader to educate, the new folks that's coming in. You know what I'm saying? So
well, that's the thing too. Like you just said,
of course,
you can't throw like no crazy, like
you can throw like something, but something that's like very disrespectful, bro.
But you know what? You know what though? This is, I think, part of the issue that and this is where I'm kind of on the fence, because that is part of the culture. That is part of the breaking. That is like almost fundamentally part of the dance, right? You across from somebody, you going at this cat like a battle. Like battles today, competition ain't what battles were. Like you didn't battle people to earn points or to win contests or nothing like that. You battle somebody because you had a problem with them, right? They either said you ain't got skills, or they was talking crazy about you, or whatever, right? So that disrespectful stuff is the.
You can have burners, right? You can grab and throw. You know what I'm saying? Like Victor, he does that. You watch Jeffro, Victor, Gravity. They throw a lot of burn because they're from USA,
right?
But not like up in your face, like yo, like on TV. Imagine it's on NBC and
somebody grandma gonna watch it, gonna be like, oh, that boy good. No, I'm just like,
the young bucks gonna be watching this too. The adult, but I'm talking about kids, 11 years old, 10 years old, 13 years old, 8 years old.
Yeah.
They may watch it all the time and they seen this.
Right.
They're probably like, nah. I don't want. For me, if my
you don't want them doing that today, right?
You get into that. Just say if I don't know nothing about breaking, and they just being disrespectful, holding their. Come on, bro. Like, nah. You get what I mean?
That's
like,
another argument.
There's a time and place for that, and that's for the dark jam, dark ciphers. That's where the cipher is for. That's what I'm saying. There's coexist. There's time and place for everything, right? So just imagine somebody who like what they see in Olympics without all this, and then they go learn it, and they're like, "Whoa, there's the other aspect." The other side, of
Save
breaking.
the Last Dance. We got to give them the Save the Last Dance version of the at the Olympics, huh?
Nah, I think the way Jeffro, Gravity get down, Victor get down, even Logistics, they represent like, bro. If you watch, all of them, Sonny and so on, they do what we do. You know what I'm saying? But they won't like get up and hold a private parts in front. You know what I mean? Like, yo, what's the point?
What if though there is somebody that you don't like?
Huh?
What if there's somebody in the battle, like right now, right? I don't know what international beef is going on right now in breaking, but what if two of those people end up head to head at the Olympics?
I
And
mean,
what
they
if
can.
that
They
extra stuff, are they like do they get disqualified for doing things like that, or do you know if those are
so there's this thing called misbehavior button, and so
okay?
it's up to the judges to push that misbehavior button or not. And I
Gotcha.
guess their points, some percentage cut off,
Get deducted.
overall. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, look, for example, Menno and Jeffro got it in at the Shanghai. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like they were very competitive. Menno, went out because on our side we were hype. You know what I'm saying? And we were saying some things in the
Yeah.
back, and Metal in the middle is around like, yo, shut the F up, and then do his thing, and then
Yeah.
he stepped up
Yeah.
towards us and kind of like flaunt, you know what I'm saying? And then
Right.
Jeffro, the battle ended, but Jeffro went in and keep going.
Right.
Like as if it's, yo, I don't care, you know what I'm saying? Like he kept going. And then, the host like, yo, the battle's over, this and that and the third. So there's that
Yeah.
spontaneous raw element aspect as well. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
That's the thing that we're
That
worried
can happen
about, you know?
spontaneously though. It's
Yeah.
not like you're looking for like, yo, let's do this all the
Well,
time. You know what I'm saying?
no.
It
Yeah.
gotta make sense, right? So then, there was that competitiveness, between
Yeah.
Menno and Jeffro. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't
Yeah. I
like
think that's the issue. Is this
disrespectful, you know?
that's where a lot of the flavor of the style comes from, is
Yeah.
the attitude, how people carried themselves in the street. Like, these are real street dudes that was doing these dances, you know what I mean?
It's like,
And that's part of why the dance looks the way it looks, right? So like, we don't necessarily want to quote Most Def, sanitize it too much, right? To fit a certain audience, right? I think
yeah,
that and I don't necessarily feel that way. I understand, things can shift based on where they are, but I also understand the argument for why people wouldn't want to see that, right? It's
yeah,
again going back
it has
to,
to make sense. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I remember Amir did his round and Gravity jumped out. Boom. And I think did a burn mid it, but like it was a burner. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? But
burner,
he did it in a way that's dope. That's not disrespectful. That's the
yeah.
thing
But
here.
I mean, the
Not being
point of a burn is to be disrespectful, though.
right, so then there's this thing in
And I'm just
breaking.
playing
It's like
devil's advocate at this point, you
yeah,
know what I mean? But
in breaking there's a burner round where it's not like a
oh, you
burn,
okay? I know what you're talking about.
like a burn, like just
Yeah,
off the rip. I'm just
yeah,
kind of take that momentum back, and he did it in a way that's like, whew, you know what I mean? Gravity,
mm-hmm.
has energy, like gravity will bring that whole
They
authentic,
get crazy,
persona. Like, yo, who you messing with? You know what I'm saying?
right?
Gravity has that energy, so not like he gonna water it down. The way you see
Yeah,
he battle, in other areas of his breaking career, he'll bring it on stage. It's not like he's watering down his the way he dance. None. Jeffro, same way. No
right.
watering the way they get down. Same thing with Victor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't see no like there's no type of like, let me water it down real quick. Nah, Jeffro.
Yeah, we don't want to see, like, I mean, I don't want to watch, and I hope the judges don't want to see it either. You come out and you're just earning points. You know what I mean?
Nah,
Like, that's
it's
one of the things that we're worried about, you know? And
no.
it doesn't look like that so much from the American side, but a lot of the front runners internationally, who don't have that cultural um reference, you know,
Mm-hmm.
do kind of look like they're dancing by the numbers a lot of times. And
Right.
it's like, and they're getting the wins because of the way the judging criteria is. Like, if you're satisfying this, you're doing that, blah blah blah, then this is just how it is. So, plant, like, straddling that line, I think, is going to be what we're all watching this time around. So that being said, though, we can jump to the next point, because this time around we already there. 2024, August
Mm-hmm.
9th, 10th, we break it in the Olympics. What happens next though? Because we already know after after this one, LA didn't pick it up. 2028, the Olympics are coming to Los Angeles, California. They did not pick up breaking as an event. Now maybe we can go into a little bit about what category of sport or of event breaking is, to even understand, how is it that it doesn't make it to the next competition, right? Like, it's a provisional sport. So it's not one of the core events that are one of the original events that are just there. That is the Olympics.
So to be a core so-called sport or discipline in the Olympics is you have to get into the Olympics 3 times in a row, right? So we in Paris, we got into LA 2028, and then we get into Brisbane in 2032. That means there's 3 in a row. That means forever after that, breaking is going to be a core Olympic sport.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And where the real growth is going to be, right? But unfortunately, we didn't get into LA 2028. It's just one of those things where breaking wasn't positioned correctly, through this whole journey, to where it didn't really accumulate any type of top level viewership when it comes to, whether it be the eyes, and ears from the international side, to revenues, or who's the main sponsor for the WSF? Who? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there official sponsor, and so on. So is there an official, media broadcast rights, and so then breaking can be, put in position with great visibility, get a lot of viewership through at these WSF events and so on. I have to be quite frank here and be honest that it didn't go down like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure Kev's on here. Like, I have my disagreement with how the WSF from the get-go managing this, and that's why I kind of focus on the USA. I don't want to get into the international politics and all that. Like, the people, that's I'd rather focus on USA. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to waste my time just talk about
Renegade don't care. He just put it out there. Renegade said WDSF failed. Simple as that. They had one job to do and didn't do it. No sponsor, low viewership.
Yeah, I mean, look at the, I have to say, the World Championship in 2022, bro. I mean, it was on Olympic.com, and there was no one there, and one of the judges up stage, straight stage dive, and it was very embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? Just little things like that. You know what I'm saying? And there's no real, no real like business planning when it comes to how to position breaking at the highest level, at the highest standard, right? So then garner multinational, we can garner different, international media broadcast rights and so on with certain entities, and how we can, present breaking at that very highest level. That didn't happen, and so when it comes to Olympic, it's very, driven by business principles. You know what I mean? So if you think of breaking, they have to breaking's kind of compete with other sports. And then if the Olympics only have a certain amount of sport to be in their programming, somebody got to be out. And for LA committee, it's more of like, they, okay, we'd rather have cricket. Cricket has, formulate a plan to where they're able to get, an official sponsor that can bring in a lot of revenue for their sport. The sport is healthy because there's some type of capital to kind of get their infrastructure system. Fly football they got in because look who backed them up, NFL, right? And NFL, they have a lot of, they're going to utilize their platform to gain, to garner, you know, to create some type of activation around flag football, right? So NFL is like, you know, there has a NFL has a lot of capital and marketing plan and broadcasting and all that, right? So NFL back up flag football and then present it in a way where LA 2020 is like, all right, cool, let's get flag football in. So for breaking, it wasn't a strong enough like what's been proposed, it wasn't strong enough. So then push to the side, like, yo, you know.
Word.
So yeah, that's you know, that's the reality of it. But let me focus on what we can do,
Yeah.
right? Even when we go to LA 2028, it's like, okay, even though it doesn't go to LA 2028, we know the Olympics is going to happen. We know that it's going to be placed throughout the world where billions of people is going to be seeing breaking maybe for the first time in their life. So
Right.
what are we going to do about it as a community? Are we going to sit around, just talk caca all the time, like, yo, you know, like this, that, and the third? Or is people going to mobilize and create structures and initiatives and activation? You know, are we going to, is breaking or even the street dance community create some type of federation for themselves, right?
Yeah.
So
We were talking about that too, you know, how do we,
rather to be proactive and
yeah,
who's willing to step up to the plate to create some type of, you know, infrastructure and so on, right? So it's
yeah,
just little details, you know. But as far as the grassroots, I would say the grassroots level, team up with each other, you know what I'm saying, on a local level, where the poppers and the breakers and so on create some type of entity for yourself, right, on a local
yeah,
level, and then link with each other from Dayton, Cincinnati, Columbus, to say Ohio, Columbus, Dayton, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and so on, create some type of entity to represent street dance that composed of poppers and breakers and so on, right? And if people that want to learn about breaking, there's this entity that they can go to learn. You guys are the service provider for your local area, for your regional, for your state.
yeah,
So if there's
yeah,
no that means if we don't get organized and structured, then some average Joe gonna do it that may not know about the culture. They see breaking, oh, let's create a head spinning company. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And they have
I
the right
mean,
to. I mean, you know, they have every right to. But if you create some type of entity to represent breaking on a local level, on a regional level, then when those conversations, when the news station comes in, see, you see how you develop like some type of notoriety for yourself in Cincinnati on a local level. When it comes to topics about street dance or Olympics, they're
yeah,
able to reach out to you, right? And you
yeah,
talk about it instead of some average Joe that has nothing to do with the culture. You know what I mean? So imagine
yeah,
that type of notoriety, but tenfold, meaning not just you, but other people from your city, other people from Dayton, other people from Columbus, formulate some type of committee to represent, right? And then that's when you go out there and propose, like, hey, to the mayors and so on, right? Hey, breaking's going to be in the Olympics, or breaking did happen. USA was able to bring in so many medal. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, yeah. It was definitely, you know, another
hey,
catalyst.
that
Yeah,
that like this entity, this professional entity, we got to be professional and go out there and have these conversations with the power at hands to where they're like, okay, when it comes to street dance, breaking, that's an entity we need to reach out. And
yeah.
and that had to happen everywhere, right?
I mean, yeah, you're right. I 100% agree. I think that for us, unfortunately, you know, not to make excuses for it, you know, but it's an unfortunate reality is that, you know, we got sometimes we get too many chefs in the kitchen, you know, like everybody, you know, wants to be the man, you know what I mean? And then we're not getting anything done.
Okay.
Either everybody wants to be the man, or everyone wants to be told what to do. And it's like, okay, well, even in leadership, you know, people need help, you know what I mean? And if you have a good idea, you know, bring it to people's attention, like coming together, not seeing each other as competition, not thinking that, oh, like we were talking about earlier, if you got it, then I ain't got it. And it's like, no, if you got it, then we got it. You know, if I got it, we got it. You know what I mean? Getting back to that mentality, because it is true and it's already happening again, where, you know, people are taking the opportunities, people not connected to the cultures. They're taking the opportunity to use phrases, use the fashion, using the music, and doing whatever they want and calling it the thing that we do. And unless we decide to collectively come together and say, yo, this is the thing. All right, no doubt, Renegade.
What would he say?
He said it's late. He heading to bed.
All right, old man.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to get you on there. We can do four spots on Instagram. So if Ty, if you want to do it again on Instagram,
Yeah.
we can all jump on there, and I would love to have that conversation with y'all together for sure. And get your point of view, because obviously you are definitely connected, you know, on that side of it, across the pond. So good night, King. We'll talk to you soon. But yeah, bro, that connection and us being proactive is definitely gonna have to happen. Like,
Solution. Being proactive.
yeah,
I can, you know, since, you know, I know a lot of heads from Cincinnati, Dayton, you know, Columbus. Yo, y'all need to get together and, you know, formulate some type of entity to represent when it comes to a
yeah,
new of street dance, and how can we govern ourselves, you know, on a local level, you know. Something's got to
yeah,
happen. You know, that's how society works. It's structure and governance, you know.
yeah,
If
for
not,
sure.
it's the Wild Wild West. Right now, it's the Wild Wild West, unfortunately. It's like anybody can go to Cincinnati and create, yo, we're like the #1 street dance studio. But then, you know, but they're allowed to. That's their
They're
right. You know what I'm
allowed.
saying?
They're not gonna do that though. Not here.
But that's what I'm saying. There's
I have to
entities,
go see them. Be like,
there's
whoa,
the
wait a minute.
right, that represent for the greater cause of what, you know, what street dance is about and so on, historical aspect. This entity or this organization is responsible to create those type of activation, you know, to go out to the local community and talk about, okay, we're, you know, introduce yourself and so on, introduce yourself to the dance community within your local region, you know, whether it be other dance studios and so on, right? And
Yeah,
let them know what, you know, what the entity is about and so on, right? So it can happen, man. But
it can
look,
happen,
I know
man. It's
what
just
you.
it's gonna be a lot of work.
All I know is like in before October 2021, USA was behind when it comes to international Olympic infrastructure, and USA to get with unity and uniting breakers, formulating an entity, uniting them. We're able to come back, you know what I mean, and
Yeah,
be a house within this Olympic landscape because of that mission of everybody comes together. We're behind. We need to get together. We need to unite. We created a breaking division called Breaking School USA. Boom! Within two, yeah, two years, 2.5 years, we're about to maximize our quota going to the Olympics. You know what I mean? Of full
yeah,
representative. So that's the power of unity.
yeah.
2018,
Of course.
zero representation in 2018, but in 2024, we're
Yep.
planning to have four representative in Paris 20. That's the power of unity. That's the power
The
of us.
maximum number allowed.
Yeah,
You
you know
know.
what I'm saying? Two boys and two B girls, and that's the
Yeah.
power of unity of how we come together and really represent. And it's okay to formulate this so-called entity, even on a local level, to be under another organization, right? That don't know, but then you guys spearhead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You guys spearhead the street dance. You know, I don't know if there's like a dance organization on a local level. I don't know. There's some
Yeah,
type of
man, that's the struggle, but we're trying to connect with some of the, local institutions and explain to them, yo, like, if it's dance, then you all are the top of the food chain, and we can, collaborate. You have this going on, you have this going on, but you don't have this going on, and we feel like it's an asset, it's what is needed, and it's underrepresented. So,
yeah.
you know, for us here, I'm talking to a few different people.
Mhm.
Ultimately, it is going to be trying to figure out how to straddle the line of being a full-time dancer educator
Mhm.
and trying to, reestablish that dance community, because we have a long history of having a big community here, Cincinnati and Dayton, and it ebbs and flows. So we're now in a rebuilding phase again, and we're trying to find new blood and get that back rolling. And I think that's a thing that's happening around the country a little bit. Some places are doing better than others. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's the goal. The goal is to reestablish a vibrant community of street dancers, all
Mhm.
levels. Doesn't matter if you're like hardcore gung ho or whatever. Like, I did have to learn from that myself from back in, some years ago. I had a big group, but I didn't um I didn't allow for people's varying levels of passion and commitment. I thought if
Mhm.
you came to our classes, then you wanted to go all the way. So I would set up shows. I'd be like, yeah, we going to battles, like, and I had people in rehearsals, like we doing all this stuff. And some of them were just like, yo, like, I just like the vibe of class, and I just want to come and session and kick it. I'm not trying to get on stage with, the symphony orchestra, or, like, do all of that. So now I'm able to adjust and learn from that experience and say, yo, there's space for everybody for whatever capacity you want to be
Mhm.
connected. So we'll
Mhm.
get there.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
I just want it to be authentic. That's what I
Yeah.
need. That's all I need is authentic representation, and people who want to do it have to authentically want to represent, which means you
Mhm.
got to take the whole and not just the bite, right?
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that, you know? Yeah, so after Paris, I would say not even wait for after Paris. Formulate a plan on a local level
Oh yeah,
right
we
now.
definitely working that right now.
Not just
You part of the plan.
but
This is part of the plan.
every state on a local level, every city should kind of formulate, what we're gonna do
Yeah,
if new people come in, you know, or some guy, you know, some average Joe person that don't know nothing about breaking have the capital, create a dance studio, and start hiring different street dancers to come in to
yeah,
to teach.
yeah,
Oh, we're the number one dance studio. You get what I mean? Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, formulate a plan for yourself, for your local community, regionally, and start throwing events. You know?
yeah.
Um, yeah, man.
Hell yeah. That's what's up, man. Well, yo, we done been on for a little bit.
Yeah, man. That's a lot to talk
Almost.
about, man.
It is for sure, for sure. We
Get the
just,
gist, you know. Um, let's root for our brothers and sisters representing USA and
yeah,
Budapest, the best man and woman advance to the in Paris, and in Paris we need everybody to kind of ante up, like, yo, when it comes to that, remember you talking about raw, authentic, like, yo, bringing that competitive, like, yo, let's bring that rawness to the world, like, yo, USA is in the building. Like, for me, I don't change up my ways, you know what I'm saying? Like, when I'm at
yeah,
these,
yeah.
nah.
I wish. I mean, too. We was trying to come. Them tickets sold out in like 3 hours, bro.
Yeah, yeah,